might be have declared. I'm not sure, let me check. So this is the name we have given, right? com.apc.rule.check logs. So this is the name we have given here. Open the log. The name we have given here, a com.apc.rule.check logs. Using that, you can search in the entire log file. Open any log file. It will be open something like this. So, using these command, you can directly check. Okay, we have written this rule. We have triggered this rule. Whether we are able to print some value or not, something like that. Click on Find Next directly. It will come to this place where you have printed something. So at this timestamp, you have executed this like something like that, and it printed something like this error. Test 1 using this one. So this error is 1. So this is how we are going to print some value in the file the moment you have updated over here. After that, what you have to do? You have to go to log for your property. File here. You have to declare so something like this. U equal debug. Our error. Something like you have to declare in the log for your property files. Then only it will print some value might be a study. I have tried to work around in that scenario. It's working or not. I'm not sure it should not print, but it's printing. So whenever you are going to declare some value over here in the log property files, mean the logger object you have to declare the same in log for your property file. Something like this. So I was working on the birthright workflow, so I have printed something like this. I was working on the joiner test workflow, so I have given this name so that I can find in the log files. So whenever you need to print something related to rule workflow, you can use this logger object. You can mention the name. The same name will be printed in Tomcat file. So if you want to any custom file, in that scenario, you have to declare you have to create some custom file. Go to log for your property file. Here you have to add the logger. Whatever you have done, so it will be printing. So this is how we are going to print some logs. You want to enable or disable anything, you can use these things. 1 second. If you want to create any custom SailPoint log file, what you can do? You can create file slump, something like this, using this rolling type. Okay, so this is only for Windows. If it is a Windows, then you can use this. If it is a Mac, then it's different. If it is a Mac system, and you want to print some logs, in that scenario it will be different. You have to. You can search in the compass. Okay, so this is clear, right? If you are going to create any rule, so you have to import the log statement first. Log class. After that log object you have to declare. So whatever it is, usually I'll create something like that. Let me open one workflow and I'll show you. So last week I was working on this joiner event. In that scenario also, I have added here that import log statement log class log for logger level. I have to add. After that I have to declare this logger log equal logger.get logger something. So com.apc.workflow.birthright. So I usually prefer to write something like this. So I have written, if I'm going to execute this workflow, it will print, one by one, all the logs. It be printed. So if I want to have declared this provisioning plan object, and I want to check whether it's printing the entire provisioning plan or not, so in that scenario, I'll write something like this. Log.error. I'll use this string value. So provisioning plan has to be printed here. Planned out to XML, which means using this log, it will print entire provisioning of provisioning plan. So using this log.error, log.debug, you can print as whatever you want to return and you can check. So whether you are able to, let's say, if identity object.getAttribute is inactive, if identity attribute is inactive, equal true or not equal true, how you are going to check whether the value it's going to enter in this loop or not. In this braces it's going to enter. How you are going to check, so I have written some workflow whether the value I'm able to pass into this braces, into this logic, whether I'm able to pass or not. Oh, and how I can check whether the identity value is able to enter this loop in that scenario. I have mentioned log.debug. Employee paid plain randomly. You can mention anything. So if I'm able to print this employee dot, create plan, something which mean I'm able to pass the value into this braces, into this condition, into this if condition I'm able to pass, else it's going to print some contractor log dot, debug contractor. It will print some value. Based on the values, only you will be able to understand. Okay, whatever rule we have written, it's working or not working. Based on that, we have to change. So why I said Java is not required Java. You should know Java. You are going to deal with Java only, but you are not going to utilize entire Java here. We have used if condition. So apart from that, can anyone tell me what are the Java stuff we have used? So we have input, object declaration, object creation in each and every language. It will be there, whether it's C language or XML or any language we are going to deal with. Object, definitely it is a language. Definitely we are going to create some object. We are going to use some method right. So that's a basic. From Java perspective, I can say I have used this if condition. Okay. So if I know if condition, which means I can return something like this, I'm going to create some abstract in that I'm going to store some value. I'm going to add some value using this add. So this account request. These are the object type. So that is the reason. Clearly initially I've told, if you know how we can, if you know the self and functionality very well, like what is identity request? What is managed attribute? Okay. Managed attribute mean entitlement bundles. In that scenario, you can easily do something like this. So I have created a coin. After that I'm going to add some birth rate groups over here to add birth rate groups. Just I'm going to add a point request and then I'm going to add some attribute. The attribute name. I have mentioned this member of his attribute. This is the attribute value. I'm going to add entitlement value if you want. I can see this is entitlement value. This is the entitlement attribute. I'll try to show you how we can create one custom rule. Okay, in that rule let me try to cover 2, 3 functionality from Java, like if, condition loop and some method. If you are going to deal with error, if you are getting some error, it won't allow you to pass to the next step in that scenario, what we can do, so let me talk about that. So if I'm going to run this workflow using this line, using this words, string value, I can search in the workflow. So I have created something all like com.apc.rule.checkLocks. So this is what I have created in the rule, the log object. So using that I can search in that lock easily. I can search so I'm able to print test error test1. So the rule executed successfully, I'm able to print some value. So the same here in the workflow. Let me explain one more time. I'm able to pass the value one by one. So in the provisioning plan I'm able to print. So after this provisioning plan I'm able to capture the identity name, which mean the provisioning plan, its success identity object. Also I'm able to print, there is some value. Why I'm explaining this much? because sometimes you will get some null pointer exception. I'll accept null pointer exception either. You will get, which means object is there, but there is no value. Null value. It's there, so in that scenario, it will be very difficult. Null pointer exception. It's a very easy to clear, but you should know which object throwing null.